West Hill United is a progressive spiritual community where how you live is more important than what you believe. West Hill United is a people, a place, an idea. We are a community living out of a progressive faith, striving to make a positive difference in our own lives, the lives of others, and the world. Join us Sundays at 10:30 a.m. or connect with us at any time.
Hello, everybody. To those who are in the hall in Toronto, 3 at the moment, but I'm sure we'll fill up. And to the many more who are online and joining us today via Zoom. It's my privilege to take a turn at welcoming you this week and doing the reading, etc. Now, we always begin our gatherings by acknowledging the fact that in Canada we occupy land that was originally owned by Indigenous groups and tribes, and we remind ourselves of our debt to these nations and the harm that is still inflicted on many by successive governments. So this week, I would like to highlight a positive step that was started and is ongoing for the children of Indigenous parents. It's called Jordan's Principle, and it's named after Jordan River Anderson, a young boy from Norway House Cree Nation in Manitoba. Jordan was born in 1999 with complex medical needs that required him to be in hospital. When he was 2 years old, doctors said he could move to a special home for his medical needs. However, the federal and Manitoba governments could not agree on who should pay for his home-based care. So Jordan stayed in the hospital until he passed away at the age of 5. In 2007, the Assembly of First Nations and the First Nations Child and Family Caring Society of Canada filed a complaint before the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal, or CHRT, which is a legal institution that considers alleged breaches of the Canadian Human Rights Act. The complaint argued that Jordan's case was just one in thousands in which inequitable and insufficient funding for child and family services to First Nations on reserve and in the Yukon were discriminatory on the basis of race, national, or ethnic origins. In 2016, the CHRT determined the Government of Canada's approach to services for First Nations children was discriminatory. And one way this is being addressed at the moment is through a renewed approach to Jordan's Principle. Since the ruling, the CHRT has issued a number of follow-up orders about Jordan's Principle. In May 2017, the CHRT ordered that the needs of each individual child must be considered under Jordan's Principle to ensure that the following points are taken into account: substantive equality, providing culturally appropriate services, and safeguarding the best interests of the child. This means giving extra help when it is needed, so that First Nations children have an equal chance to survive and to thrive. Nice to hear something good that's being done in the right direction. Now we come to one reading. And as probably most of you know, it's our custom at the end of a reading to say, offered as wisdom for the journey. And if you wish to respond, then please do so with, may we walk in its light. Yes, just one reading today from the writings of Marcus Aurelius, who was the Roman emperor from 161 to 180 CE, Common Era. He was known as a philosopher king, and for writing his Meditations, a classic text of personal journal reflections in Stoic philosophy. He was also the last of the so-called 5 good emperors of the Pax Romana. Don't let your imagination be crushed by life as a whole. Don't try to picture everything bad that could possibly happen. Stick with the situation at hand and ask, why is this so unbearable? Why can't I endure it? You'll be embarrassed to answer. Then remind yourself that past and future have no power over you. Offered as wisdom for the journey.
Good morning again, everybody. I'm so glad that you are here this morning. And that song, what a beautiful song. The lyrics of it, so good. It's a summertime, and so I figured this morning we would just make it a little bit more relaxed. I'm here at a park that's about 10 minutes from my house, and I'll share more on that a little bit later here. But a little bit more relaxed this morning. So I figured what I would do this morning is I would tell a story. And then we're going to have a time of reflection. But then afterwards, as people are there in person or online, if you'd like to share a story, and the story I'm going to share today is a story of some small courage. And I feel that we all have some small or medium or even large stories like this. And so I'd invite you later on to share with one another. The story. I'm combining words. I promise I haven't been drinking this morning. Only my protein drink here. The story that I would like to share, the sherry, there we go, is a story of years ago. And you'll see a picture here on the screen. Is that okay, Ada? We didn't discuss this beforehand. Do you have the pictures that I have there in the PowerPoint? Awesome. So the tech team, they are always on top of things. So much thanks to the tech team. This is Half Dome in Yosemite National Park here in the States. And a few years back, I had some friends who had this wild idea. And they said, hey, you see the top of that peak there? We should climb up there. And I thought, oh, I don't know about that. And one of the big issues for me was that I was having issues with my legs at the time. I kept on pulling my calf muscles. I would go out and do things I enjoy, such as go for a light run or go and play basketball. And I would pull my calf muscles time after time after time. And I would try to, do some work to try to re-strengthen my calf muscles. But I was having difficulty in getting them into the shape that they need to. But I wanted to experience this with some friends that I've been friends with for a long time, some since childhood. I wanted to do this alongside them. And in fact, one of my friends, he had kidney cancer. And a month before doing this trip, he was set to have a kidney removed. And through this time, he kept on training. And afterwards, he went and did some trial runs and whatnot. And I thought to myself, well, if he can do this, if he's going to try it, then maybe I can give it a go. And so I thought, what can I do? How could I make this a possibility? And I was worried. What if I start this and I get halfway up and my legs give out on me? I don't want to have my friends have to carry me back, or I don't want to pay the bill to have a rescue come and get me. That would be a very expensive bill. And I thought, well, I could hobble back down. Well, that would take forever. That wouldn't be fun. If a bear came out or something, that wouldn't be good. I couldn't run too fast. But I thought, what can I do? I want to make this happen. And so I said, I want to try to re-strengthen my calf muscles just slowly, a little bit at a time. And so I started out by doing just a few calf exercises, a few calf raises. I would do the stairs at my place, and I would just do one flight at a time. And I would check in with myself. I would say, hey, if it's too much, just relax, just rest. And then nearby, the location I'm at today, it's a park about 10 minutes from my place. And I'm going to slowly turn my camera here. And you might be able to see there in the screen, the resolution might be the best, but there is a staircase. And you can't see the whole thing because of the tree and some of the grass there. But it's about 10 flights of stairs. And so I would come here and I would just do a couple flights at a time. I'd see how my calves were, I'd rest, and then I would do a couple more. And then my first day, I remember coming here. I was only here for about 10, 15 minutes. I thought, okay, that's all right. That's all I can do. One step at a time. I didn't want to overdo it. The next time I came, I added a few more minutes. I was here for 15 to 20 minutes, as I didn't want to overdo it, because when I would pull calf muscle, that would kind of set me back in my recovery. And so I just took it one step at a time. And even though the more times I came, I was here longer, I would take breaks. There's lots of benches around. And so I would definitely take time to sit at those benches and not try to overdo it too much. But I had this goal. I wanted to experience this with my friends. So each time that I came here to this park, I would add the time that I was here and I was doing these flights of stairs. Those first 10 to 15 minutes turned into 20, then 30, then 45 minutes and an hour and a half, 2 hours. And eventually, a couple days before the trip, I spent close to 4 hours here at this park, just going up and down the stairs, which is, in case you might think that is fun, it is definitely not, for the record. I didn't think that many of you would think that's fun. It wasn't too bad. Actually, there's a beautiful view behind me. There's a view overlooking the river. I put on some good music and some podcast, and I had my gear. I had a bag that I had, and I looked back and I thought, it's interesting, just a few months ago, I could only do this for about 10 minutes at a time. I took it step by step. But then, of course, you start thinking ahead. You say it's different. This is, about 4 hours here. Well, climbing this big rock here in California, it'll take about 12 to 16 hours. And it's still a lot of unknown. There's, twist in the journey. There's different elements to it, which I'll get into here in a second. But there's still some unknown. But I told myself, just do it one step at a time. It'll be all right. And if you need to, if you need to rest, tell your friends you need to rest. They'll be all right with it. If you need to even come back down, if you can't make it all the way up, that's okay. It's something that I wanted to try. So I flew out to California. And the first night there, I'll show you, there's a picture here of the stars on the screen. I don't know if you can see it with the resolution, but if you can't see it with the resolution, just imagine as many stars as the eye can see. It was a beautiful sight. It was about 9 p.m. And then we went back to our cabin where we were staying at the foot of the mountain. I tried to go to bed. I had trouble sleeping. I think I had some anxiety, some fear of the next day. And I laid there and I laid there and I laid there. And you know, when you lay there after a while and it becomes even worse because you think, oh no, if I fall asleep right now, I only get 4 hours of sleep. And then an hour passes. If I only fall asleep right now, I only get 3 hours. And I remember the alarm clock going off in the morning. And I thought to myself, I really don't know if I slept much at all. Maybe very little. Now, I did know that our fatigue, that our mental fatigue is the first thing, but usually have a little bit more physical abilities. And I was tempted to not do it because I was like, oh, I didn't sleep much. What if my legs give out? And I talked to my friends. I said, hey, I'm going to try this. I'm not sure how this will exactly go, but I need to give this a go. And so at 4:30 in the morning, we started off and we started walking. And at first, you'll see here as the sun came out, there's a picture. And it's just a lot of these trees, beautiful trees. But you keep going up the mountain. And then the next picture here, you start getting some of these beautiful views. As you see here in the next picture, if we can go to that. There's some beautiful views of the mountain that you
PowerPoint
see.
just froze. Sorry, mate.
Oh, no worries. We'll all use our imaginary caps this morning. So imagine some beautiful mountains, and you start thinking, okay, oh, we can go back a few. There we go. And you start thinking, I think I got this. Now there are times in my legs I could feel them starting to get a little bit tighter, and so I would stop, I would stretch, and I would just think about the moment that I was in. What can I do? What can I do? I didn't think as much about the bigger picture, but what can I do in this moment? And one of the techniques I would take is not just so what can I do in this moment, but I would shorten my stride because I knew that would mean less impact on my calf muscles. I would just take the smallest little steps, and I kept going. And then, you'll see here in the next picture, I saw the big part of the journey, the half dome for the first time as we turned the corner. And I thought, oh, I'm in for this. Here we go. And then as I got up to this major part of the rock formation here, you'll see in the picture, there's this part. Well, actually, you go up through these steps, and that's more impactful on the calves. But then the next picture, here we go. There's this part where you are attached to cables, and you're close to 10,000 feet up in the air, and you can feel the wind, and you're at a point of, oh, we're really doing it here. And as I got to this point here, I didn't know how I would do with this. It takes a more upper body strength, and I just said, you know what, I'm just going to one step at a time, one moment at a time. And as I got up about midway, I think it's 300 to 400 yards up. As I got up about midway, in fact, the person in front of me was really struggling, and I won't go into all of the graphic details. I will just say this: they were getting altitude sickness. They were throwing up, things of that nature. And I could have maybe tried to go around them, but I was wanting to also help them. And so you're stuck there, 10,000 feet up in the air on the side of a mountain. And you're thinking, how long will this be? I was wanting to help them get down a little bit. But at a certain point, I thought, they might have to have have a rescue crew come in. Because of the different sickness, they weren't in the best mental condition with some things. I think that they were kind of freaking out a little bit. And all that to say is I just kept on thinking, am I good right now? I'm good. If I need to go back down, I will. But for right now, I'm good. And how can I help them? And so we were able to get them off of this major incline here. and we're able to keep going one step at a time. And as you see in the next picture here, you might be able to see me. I'm just a little speck there, but this is me overlooking one of the more scenic areas of Yosemite National Park. It's a beautiful view. All that to say, though, is the view was great. Getting to the top was wonderful. But there's something about the whole process, something about months beforehand, just saying, hey, this is something that I want to go after. And I'm not sure if I can do this. I was going out for runs and stuff like that. And every time it seemed that I went out, I'd pull my calf muscles and I'd have to redo my strength training to try to rehabilitate them. But I wanted to do this with my friends, especially my friend who had just had surgery to have a kidney removed. I wanted to do this with them. And I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad for the different steps along the way here at this park this morning and the stairs over here to my left, the memories I have of just taking it one step at a time, breaking it down. I think you see the analogy in this of the things or all the things in our life that we can face different things. And, I don't know what each person here is facing this morning. Before I speak, I try to think of the different things that people might be experiencing, going through in their life. And all that to say is, it could be retirement. What does retirement look like? Or a new job. Maybe you take the chance of a new job. What does that look like? You don't know. Or maybe you are in retirement and what do I do now with my time? Maybe it's the medical diagnosis. I mentioned my friend who had kidney cancer that I did this climb with. Maybe it's, you fill in the blank, so many different things. There's all these different things. And I guess my major point is, as we're talking about courage in this series, that to live a good life, I think we have to live with love. It's just small steps of courage, one step at a time. And so I encourage you this morning. I want to help put the courage within you to encourage. What steps can you take? Whatever you're going through, whether it's something that you are going through right now or might be here in the future, what different small steps can you take? And the truth is, maybe we don't even make it all the way up the mountain. I had some friends that went along on the journey who actually were very close, but they had to pull back at different points. And one who ultimately didn't make it up for some reasons. The person who was right above us on the trail there, they didn't make it up all the way, but they took it one step at a time. And when they got to a new step where they had to take a different path, that was okay too. They got to be a part of the journey. Once again, what are the small steps? We're going to play a song here. And I just invite you to listen to the words of this song. This song is called On the Way. And the tagline is, I'll find my feet. And one of the major points of the song is, we go along the way. And on the way, we don't always know what's going to happen. But isn't it interesting as we take it step by step, how a lot of times we find our feet along the way? I will give a small disclaimer here. There's one line of the song that I don't necessarily agree with. It says, throw caution to the wind in the song. I will say, I just want to give that disclaimer. I don't necessarily agree with that lyric, but I think their point in this is saying that we have fear, but how do we overcome this fear? We just take it one small step at a time. And usually when we take it one step at a time, we find our feet along the way and we build that courage. So as we listen to the song, reflect on what's your next step. As Scott will say sometimes, what will love do now? What's your next small step? Or how can you take small steps with the different things that you are going through? Let's take a moment to reflect together as we listen to this. The old adage, take it one step at a time. It's not just a feel-good saying. There's a lot of science that backs it up. And so I want to encourage you this morning, whatever quote unquote mountain that you might be facing, however big or small, take it one step at a time and try to enjoy the process along the way as much as you can. Once again, thank you everybody for being here. today, and may we live with courage so that we can live with love, one step at a time. Have a great day, West Hill.
Become a sustaining champion of West Hill United's work by committing to an automatic monthly donation. Learn more or donate now through Canada Helps.